Here's something that I don't get. If we are constantly in this flow of non-physical to physical, non-physical to physical, and we choose to come here, I don't understand how we could get so far from what you're teaching us as a society, as a world, as a culture.
Because somewhere along the trail, someone convinced you that what you feel is less important than what they feel.
Yeah.
They said to you, don't you dare be selfish. Do what pleases me. Do not do what pleases you. And you bought it.
But shouldn't we have, since we've come from this physical to non-physical back and forth, shouldn't we have more of a remembrance? Shouldn't we?
Well, but consider this. What if, from the broader perspective, you're not really that worried about it? What if, from the broader perspective, you know the end of the movie turns out good? What if, from broader perspective, you know that you came to explore contrast for the benefit of expansion? And what if you know that the worst case scenario would be that you pinch yourself off from it for a while, maybe your whole physical life, but that when you croak, you come back into alignment with it? What if, from the big perspective, you say it's way, 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 way worth it to explore the contrast for the thrill of offering expansion, and even more for the thrill of getting up to speed with it? Think about people who would never go on an adventure and those that just love the thrill of an adventure. And you all were seeking the thrill of the adventure. First of all, you know how the whole thing works. And next, you know that you are a creator. And next, you know that you cannot begin to create if you don't have some stuff to create from. So you're willing to jump in and have your own exposure to life, because somebody else can't create through you. You got to create through your own vibration. You've got to create through your own attention to things. You need life in order to create, in order to put things into your escrow. And you were eager to do that, you see. And you didn't see it as bad and good. You saw it as variety from which you would choose. And you knew that you would launch these rockets of desire. And you knew that you had a guidance system that would let you know whether you were in alignment and whether you weren't. So your question is then, how did we get so far off from it? Why did I have to go so far?
And there's no understanding. I mean, between us here, we're understanding it a bit, but out in the world, the teachings, the religion, the mainstream thinking is so off.
Well, we don't agree with that for this reason. Let us give you something that will soothe that just a little bit. First of all, all of these new consciousnesses that are coming forth, we're talking about flora and fauna and the baby humans. All of them that are coming forth are coming from this perspective of all that you've put into the vortex. So they are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, cable ready, ready to rock and roll. In other words, they're coming in and they're knowing. And that's huge. You talk about a generation gap, we call it a vibrational gap. They're coming knowing things that you've put into your vortex that you haven't allowed yourself to know. They're coming in knowing it, you see. And then there are those like you who are deliberately moving yourself into the vortex. Then there are those who have just figured it out that they want to feel good. In other words, everything that every single person does, everything that every single person wants, whether it's a material object or a pile of money or a relationship, everything that everyone wants is because they believe they will feel better in the having of it. And then you have those like us. As you summon us, we come and we explain, and when you're ready, you hear, you see. We don't think that your world is as out of whack as you are seeing it. And we wouldn't make a big deal over a little bit of negative emotion if we were standing in your physical shoes. But we do agree with you. It should feel better to you. Life should be good to you. You should get what you want. You shouldn't have to suffer. Things should unfold. You should feel your power. We want you to know your worthiness. And we think that is the biggest, boldest, most accurate answer to the question that you're posing here. People have lost their sense of worthiness because of the distorted story that has been told to them about who they are.
And stories, so many, one after another. So
this conversation is not helpful. In other words, you are continuing that story. No matter what the reason is that you're focused upon that, you're not focused upon what's in the vortex as you tell such a story. So you want to get into the vortex so that you can radiate the knowledge that you want others to find. And this is the time of awakening, meaning this is the time when all who are looking will find. We want to find a way of helping you to feel the enthusiasm that we feel when your life causes you to put something into your vortex and then you manage to get in there where it is. That's the thrill of life. And that's the nugget that everyone is looking for. We want to convince you that the perfect world isn't one where everybody knows what you're coming to know and everybody is just this really dynamic, deliberate creator. That's not the perfect world. The perfect world is the world you've got. The perfect world is the world of contrast and balance. The perfect world is the world that stimulates new desire, and some line up with it and some don't. In other words, the perfect world is the world of choice. It's the world of knowledge. And we know that when you find a way to find happiness, that you want to tell everybody about it. But the thing that's tricky about that is somebody who's not in the vicinity of happy can't hear you. And so then you want to say, well, something's screwy with the system. And we say, no, it's not screwy with the system. There might be something screwy with people's ability to understand where they are in relationship to who they are. That's screwy. It's screwy that a mother welcomes a child into the world and then convinces the child that the child should care more what mother thinks than about how the child feels. That's screwy. But don't you notice that as children grow, that they begin reaching for more, and that if they care about knowing that they'll find their way? We cannot assume that people in various religions haven't found something meaningful that is working for them. In other words, we are not for a moment here to suggest that the way that we are explaining all of this is the only way that it can be explained. We understand the laws of the universe, but there are plenty of people who are outside the vortex, who are living, who have put things into their vortex, who find things in religions that you might not find that might help them to close their gap, you see? There's not one right way of living. There are so many right ways of living.